Yeah, hi, good evening, friends. This is Wasim Ahmed with you once again, and as I promised you in my last video, that I'll be coming up with very important information on types of scenarios and types of questions can be asked in your next exam, which is due in February in few more days. So, guys, this is very important video with regards to your exam, and mainly we have gathered some database out of previous exams. There are 3 exams and 1 sample question paper by NEBOSH, so that is, I think, sufficient evidence to discuss on what kind of next exam could be and what kind of questions could be asked. The syllabus is very short. There are only 4 elements, and examiner would definitely ask you the same things again and again. But the only difference I would say is the ways of asking questions and all that. So we'll be discussing in today's video what could be scenarios and what type of answers could be there in your next exam. So let's start, guys. So friends, if we recall the history of previous 3 exams and the sample question paper uploaded by NEBOSH on their website, it is very clear that there are typical type of scenarios NEBOSH is coming up with. So these are some of the types of scenarios which could be there in your exam. So mainly, either they give you a very good safety culture organization, or they could give you a scenario with a very poor safety culture within the organization, or there could be an ongoing issue like, for example, some accident, some disease, some malfunctioning of process, and being health and safety practitioner, you would be asked what are the solutions in that typical situation. Or there could be a poor leadership or management commitment depicted in the scenario, and examiner would like to check your analytical skills, how you come up with the information out of that scenario and how you come up with the solutions provided by you using your course materials, using your study materials which you have covered in your IGC 1. Any new issue, new problem, or health and safety related matter. For example, in one of the exams, they provided you with the COVID-19 situation, which is totally new for the world. And yeah, this could also be one of the scenario. Not only COVID-19, there could be any new issue, any assumed issue, and being health and safety practitioner, they can check your knowledge on that issue. Also, need for HSE management system and certification. For example, they come up with a very poor safety culture and they ask you, you are health and safety manager, you joined this organization, how you are going to improve health and safety related issues within the organization, how you are going to introduce a management system approach. So the question can be, very confusing for you in that situation. But if you look at the wider perspective, the examiner is asking you what are the benefits of health and safety management system, ISO 45000 system or whatever, which will help this organization to improve safety culture. So my one of the suggestion is, whenever you get such scenario, you have to define the benefits, you have to define things which are going to benefit this organization to improve situations. Poor or good contractors management at site, maybe they come up with a scenario where the organization is working with contractors and contractors are not well managed, no, they are not well selected, they are not well coordinated with the information. So any issue could be there. Being health and safety practitioner and using your knowledge, you need to recall the information you had in your syllabus. Like we all know that to manage a contractor, we have 3 phases. First phase is selection of a better contractor, and if you recall, we have certain documentation, certain things which you need to consider before selecting a contractor. Then the second phase is managing and coordination with the contractor, and the third phase is monitoring of contractor continuously. So if these things are here in your mind, if your concepts are clear, for sure scenario is not difficult for you. Development of safety culture within the organization to tap on multiple HSC related issues, health and safety related issues. So a general scenario could be there where you, being health and safety specialist, are asked that you are hired to develop safety culture within the organization. So what would be your approach? So you need to look at the problems provided in the scenario and you need to come up with the solutions. So this is how usually the scenarios are coming. So these kind of scenarios could be there. The only key point here I would like to highlight is that, guys, looking at the scenario, you need to make up your mind. For example, if it is a very good, everything is very good, statistics are very good, safety culture is very good, then you need to make up your mind that you need to discuss everything good, because scenario is providing you information that everything is fine. So you need to support your argument with this, and all of that good information is with you in the scenario. So it is very easy for you to highlight those good things in your answers and connect it with the scenario. So this is a brief on what kind of scenario could be there in the exam. So let's see what kind of questions could be there. So friends, looking at the previous examinations you had with NEBOSH, these are some of the expected questions, and these are the questions NEBOSH will be always asking you most of the time. So for example, comment on organization's approach to managing risks. They might provide you a scenario in which they tell you a typical situation in which there is a problem going on and they are providing some solutions, some controls. So this is one of the common thing they ask you, that looking at the scenario, what do you think how organization is managing those risks? So they might come up with certain controls, with safe systems of work, with PTWs, with a procedure, with a policy, with engineering controls. These are the things you need to identify and list down. Most of the time, you will be using information provided in the scenario itself. You are not going to bring new information from your sources of information. So, this is one of the common question they can ask you. Another very important and common question is financial, moral, legal arguments to support your recommended action. Either they can ask you one out of them or they can ask you all three, and the marks will be more on the question if they ask you all these three. So guys, one point to be noted here, when they ask you to make financial arguments, you have to come up with the cost benefit analysis and all those things. For example, if one of the control is very costly, then for sure you are not going to bring that control in. But in a typical situation, they will give you a situation in the scenario in which there might be a recommended action, and they ask you how this action is going to help organization financially. So for example, if there was an accident and this action which is recommended was not there, due to which the accident happened, this cost organization a hell of money. For sure here you can make some financial arguments that there is a cost involved with the accident. It can be direct cost, it can be indirect cost, it can be insured cost, uninsured cost. So this will give them an idea to the examiner that yes, you know all of these concepts and you know the breakthrough of direct, indirect cost and all that. So you need to just bring in your knowledge you acquire from your training providers and from your syllabuses to support your answer. For example, if there is a moral argument required, you will be focusing on the facts and figures provided by ILO and different websites, and you will be saying that this much of fatality is going on, this much of diseases are there, this much of deaths are going on, and you need to create a scenario here that it is very important moral duty of employer to protect employees. So if this much of problem is there, then the lawmakers, the organizations, the communities, they should think of working on more stringent standards to protect human lives, to protect health of people and all that. So you will be bringing in a global type of a thing, a macro level discussion here. And if there are legal issues going on, For sure, you will be looking at the compensation costs involved, you will be looking at the court cases, you will be looking at some of the legal issues, okay, where you are in breach of standards and all that. So all of this depends on your scenario. Examiner can ask you to discuss morally, legally, or financially, and accordingly you need to shape up your answer. Comment on organizations' health and safety morals. Again, these are the moral values and all that. In one of the exams, this was a question, and out of the scenario they provided you, they ask you to comment on the organization's morale. So if the moral values are high, if the safety culture is good, you need to highlight those things, and accordingly vice versa. So it depends on the scenario. If you look at question number 4, the type 4, support your answer with moral, legal, financial arguments to convince management to take certain action. This is very commonly asked questions, guys. For example, you are health and safety practitioner and you want to convince your top management to take certain action to bring in a machine or equipment or a procedure something. Then you need to justify with moral, legal, financial arguments, and this is one of the part of your GC2 risk assessment also. In the risk assessment, you will be asked to justify 3 actions you are going to select, and the recommendations you are going to make. One of the part of your risk assessment project is that you need to justify it morally, legally, and financially. So this topic should be prepared very well. Your concepts must be clear on moral, legal, financial, very good, so that you can justify your answers. And this is one of the commonly asked questions in the exam. There can be a question on based, like for example, based on scenario, discuss how communication is used to improve safety culture. For example, in the scenario, the examiner will provide you different methods of communication through signboards, through billboards, through procedure, through meetings, uh, through email communications. Uh, Different medias are there through safety campaigns and all that. So you need to just highlight these things and you need to reproduce it in your answer to say that this is how the organization is using communication is one of the tool to improve safety culture within the organization. Also, there can be a question on comment on how good consultation can improve safety culture. So consultation, we all know, is one of the tools used to improve safety culture within the organization. And there is one-way consultation, there is two-way consultation. Uh, Consultation is direct, indirect also. So just you need to show examiner the depth of knowledge you have, and looking at the scenario, you need to design your consultation strategy accordingly, discussing those points which are mentioned in the scenario to support your answers. So this can be one of the question. Based on scenario only, what unsafe behaviors or acts you would include in your report to management? For example, they give you a very poor situation in the organization where there are so many unsafe acts, unsafe conditions going on. Here examiner would like you to identify all of those unsafe acts and unsafe conditions and convince your management in the report that these things should be stopped, these things should be controlled within the organization to avoid further accidents. Comment on how properly defined roles and responsibilities can improve performance. This can also be one of the questions. Maybe they tell you in the scenario that the organization has set roles and responsibilities of people very well at different levels. So supporting your answer, you have to tell what is the benefit of defining proper roles of people within the organization and how it is going to improve the situations within the organization. So these are some of the types of questions you may have in your exam. Guys, sometime you may get a question like what arguments would you include to convince management to investigate the near misses and incidents? Maybe in the scenario you are being told that the organization is not taking care of the incidents going on, there is no investigation procedure, there is no reporting procedure. So here you need to convince management that why accidents must be reported and why they must be investigated. So we all know that accidents, the most important reason to report an accident and investigate an accident is a legal reason. Okay, legally you are bound to report and investigate certain type of accidents. And if you recall your knowledge, some of the incidents as per UK regulations written 1999, reporting of injuries, diseases, dangerous occurrences regulation, you need to report fatalities immediately, you need to report dangerous occurrences, you need to report ill health cases immediately to the authorities. This is a legal requirement. Also, you can convince your management that incident must be investigated and reported so that you know the causes to avoid reoccurrences and all that. So, in your syllabus, this is clearly defined. So, here you can bring in some of the information from your course book and syllabus, from your element number 4, where the incidents and accidents are discussed, audits are discussed, and you can connect it with the knowledge, connect it with the scenario, and answer your question that if organization investigate and report incidents properly, they are going to get such certain benefits. Here you are convincing management to always report and investigate accidents, to look into this issue also. What arguments you should use to convince management to go for ISO 45001 certified health and safety management system? In one of the exams, this was a question, and many people they could not answer well because they were bringing in very generic information from their mind. The question is very clear, guys. The examiner would like you to define the benefits of a certified management system. Okay, what are the benefits of ISO 45001 system? So it's a structured approach toward achieving health and safety performances. It's a third party certified system within the organization. It gives you synergy to do the jobs properly, safely. And there are many benefits. You can simply go to any information source and you can find out what are the benefits of certified management systems for health and safety. Okay, it's a structured approach to investigate accidents. It improves the goodwill of the company, and so many benefits are there. So you need to only provide benefits here. Okay, anytime you are going to convince management on certain thing, you need to provide benefits. You need to show them the good part of that thing so that they are convinced and they make decision. There can be a question, what are the important factors you should consider while selecting external contractors? Okay, so this can be very common question also. So we all know, while selecting a contractor, there are certain type of documents we look at: health and safety policies, procedures of the organization, certification of their equipment and people. We look at their memberships with different organizations. We look at the types of clients they worked with previously, and we look at so many other things you may find in your syllabus there. So here you need to connect it with the scenario, and you can say that, looking at the current situations, the contractor might not be selected properly. So these are the areas you need to focus on, and ultimately you are going to reproduce your knowledge here on selection of contractor. So that is a detailed information provided in your course and syllabus books. Okay. Another important question can be, based on scenario, what are the indicators of health and safety culture? Okay, so in one of the scenario, I remember previous exams, there was a very poor safety culture prevailing, and everything was bad. There was no reporting, there was no policy procedure thing, there was unsafe acts of people and all of those things. So health and safety culture indicators are same. If you consult your book, indicators are same. Now if it is on the positive side, it's a good safety culture. If it is on the negative side, it's a poor safety culture. So using those certain indicators, the absenteeism, the sickness rates, and so on and so forth, there are so many other things, the accident rates, if they are increasing every year, for sure there's a poor safety culture. If they are the curves are going down, it means you are focusing on controls, and you are investigating, and you are looking at the causes and controlling situations. So this question can be there also, very common question. There can be a question based on scenario, comment on how effectively health and safety policy is implemented within the organization. So, looking at the scenario itself, it will be visible to you that health and safety policy is properly implemented or not within the organization. Okay, so if proper implementation is there, for sure the results are better, the statistics are good, the culture is there. So you need to just support your answer. Guys, one thing is very clear here, that the main thing is your scenario. So whatever information is provided in the scenario, you need to talk on the basis of that information, connecting your knowledge from the syllabus and all that. So you need to focus, you need to connect your knowledge with the ongoing situation in the scenario and provide a solution to the examiner. This is what they want. What administrative engineering and other controls organization is taking to solve the issue? Now here examiner would like you to identify what are the engineering controls, administrative controls and other controls. So we all know that any documentary procedural control, any routine work shift control is all administrative control which come from administration, and any machine modification, any introduction of new machine for more safety and better things, or any of the modification, any of the technical piece of equipment utilized to improve situation is all engineering controls. So they just want to make sure in this question that you have an idea what is administrative control, what is engineering control, what is safe system of work control and all that. Explain the concept of difference between inspection and audit to convince your manager. Maybe in one of the exams this was a question that the company is deciding to discontinue ISO certification because of the cost factor, but your manager, he does not know what is the difference between audit and inspection. So he said leave the audit and focus on inspection. So you need to provide benefits of inspections and audits, drawbacks of inspections and audits to clarify the situation and convince your management on certain things. So this answer is also available in your syllabus, very detailed, and you need to list down one side inspections and then audits, benefits of inspections, benefits of audits, and this is how you can go with the answer part. So friends, there are a few more questions. One of the important question is based on scenario, identify the performance indicators of the organization. This also is from the last element number 4, where a performance check is there. So performance indicators, we all know there are different types. There are active monitoring, there is reactive monitoring. So an organization, when they check their performance, they look at all of those indicators, the accident rates, the incident rates, the ill health cases, the legal notices and all that. These are all reactive indicators. Active indicators, things which we plan in the beginning in the policy stage, how many risk assessments, how many audits will be done, how many inspections will be done, how many surveys, how many safety tours and all that, high profile visits and all that. So uh, for sure you will get some information in the scenario, and here examiner would like to know whether you have an idea on these indicators or not. So you need to simply highlight and connect it with your answer, that looking at the scenario, organization is involved in this. So it's an indicator for the performance check and all that. What management failure might have contributed to an accident? So management failures are poor leadership commitments, poor safety leadership, poor management commitment, poor policy and procedure design, all of those things. So management failure, poor lack of resource provision to the organization for safety. Safety is considered as a cost within the organization. So all of these things, if you find them in the scenario, you have to bring them in and discuss on each one of these management failures to make your point that yes, you have an idea, these are the management failures. Why PTWO or safe system of work should be used to control certain risks? They might provide you a certain situation. For example, in one of the exam, There was a tank modification job going on, and it was clearly defined in the scenario that they are going to design a safe system of work for this job, and they are going to implement PTW system. So here you need to list down the benefits of these systems, okay, to have better control over the job, to identify all the possible hazards and risks associated with the job, to provide certain controls, to keep an eye on your contractors. So there are many benefits of these systems you can define in your answers. Based on scenario, comment the prevailing health and safety culture of the organization. So guys, this question, sometime you need to look at the current scenario and what is the scenario. In one of the exam, they gave you everything is very good safety culture prevailing. Even some of the organizations are benchmarking this organization because of their safety culture. So things are clear. If it is very good, you need to make up your mind that you need to discuss everything good, and you need to say there is a positive safety culture prevailing, and these are the reasons because of on the basis of which you make this argument. Okay, communication is very strong and properly done, responsibilities are defined properly, goals and objectives are defined properly, and people are behaving properly. The number of incidents are less, the number of injuries are less, the number of diseases are less. So you need to support your answer to make up your point that there is a positive safety culture or negative safety culture within the organization. And finally, one of the common questions can be identified direct and indirect costs related to an accident. They might give you a scenario that there is an accident and the person was shifted to hospital and this much of the medical cost is there. One of the machine involved in the accident got damaged in the accident, so this much is the damage. And then later the injured person, he went to the court and he claimed compensation. So you need to just identify the heads. Okay, medical cost is a direct cost, we all know. Equipment damage cost is a direct cost. Investigation cost is indirect cost. Lost time cost is indirect cost. So you need to just show your knowledge that yes, you have an idea what kind of costs are involved. Examiner would like to know whether you have an idea on direct indirect cost, whether you can segregate them or not. So these are some of the questions I collected for you guys, and I think your 4 elements, these are the maximum things you can see out of those 4 elements. But this is not the exhaustive list here. There can be more even or less even, but just try to prepare things very well, guys, and try to get hold on your scenario, guys. This is the maximum thing I can tell you. The more you have a grip, the more you have a knowledge of your scenario. Here you can bring in some knowledge also from your sources of information, and here you can finally put some controls to show examiner that yes, this is being a health and safety practitioner, this is how you are going to tap on an issue. So friends, I think by now you might be feeling a little more better looking at these types of scenarios and possible questions in the exam, and how to tap on those answers parts. Guys, I wish you best of luck for your coming exam, and all my best wishes are for you, and I would like to see all of you passing with good grades, inshallah. So still I receive many questions from different fellows on the YouTube channel that how to put references at the end of the answer sheet. Guys, each and everything is there on my channel. There is a complete video on how to write a reference. There is a complete video on sources of information. There is a complete video on doing a proper risk assessment report. So you need to only explore the channel and you will find each and everything you need. So I would suggest, rather, you are asking me something and due to my busy schedule sometime I cannot answer you. So you might be waiting for long times. Just first you explore the channel, look at those videos. They are all helpful videos, and you will find each and every resource there, whatever you need. Once again, guys, wishing you best of luck and see you again, if possible, in another video before your exam. Thank you very much. Have a good time.